If you can't control your emotions, people will control you. There is a silent pattern most people never notice, and it becomes even more intense in those with high intelligence. The same mind that solves problems, analyzes patterns, and sees through deception often becomes the mind that struggles to feel at peace. Overthinking replaces rest. Awareness replaces comfort. And emotional depth, instead of becoming a gift, slowly turns into isolation. If you've ever felt like you understand life too much to simply enjoy it, or like happiness always feels slightly out of reach no matter what you achieve, this video is going to speak directly to that experience. Today, you will understand why intelligent people often struggle with happiness, why relationships feel more complicated for them, and why their own thoughts can become the biggest source of emotional conflict. But more importantly, you'll see the hidden psychological patterns behind the struggle, and what changes everything when you finally recognize them. Before we start, subscribe if you're tired of surface-level advice and want to truly understand human psychology, emotions, and behavior. Like this video and comment awake if you've ever felt trapped inside your own mind. Trust me, this video might explain more about your life than you expect. It usually starts in a way that doesn't look like a problem at all. You're just lying there at night, phone face down, room quiet, and suddenly your mind grabs something small from the day. A message that felt slightly different. A pause in someone's voice. A look that lasted half a second longer than usual. And instead of letting it pass, your brain starts turning it over like it matters more than it should. What makes this tricky is that it doesn't feel like stress at first. It feels like awareness. Like you're simply noticing more than others. But slowly, that same awareness starts building layers on top of reality. You don't just remember what happened, you start building alternate versions of it. Maybe they meant this. Maybe I sounded weird. Maybe I should have said something else. And now a 5-second interaction turns into a full internal replay that refuses to stop. And in everyday life, this shows up in quiet ways people don't talk about. You open your phone to reply to someone, but before typing anything, you already imagine how they might interpret it. So you delete, rewrite, delay, then leave it for later, not because you don't care, but because your mind is trying to protect you from a reaction that hasn't even happened yet. And the strange part is, the more intelligent someone is, the more detailed this process becomes. It's not just thinking a lot. This pattern recognition running without breaks. You start connecting tiny emotional signals like they're clues in a story only you are reading. A short reply becomes distance. A busy tone becomes disinterest. A normal silence becomes rejection. And none of this is fully real, but it still feels real enough to affect how your body reacts. That's where exhaustion starts to build. Not physical exhaustion, but the kind that sits behind your eyes when everything feels slightly heavier than it should. You're not reacting to life anymore, you're reacting to your interpretation of life. And the gap between those two things quietly grows every single day. And what makes it even more confusing is that this doesn't look like a flaw from the outside. People might even say you're deep, observant, or emotionally aware. But internally, it doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like being stuck in a room where every small sound gets amplified, and you can't find the switch to lower the volume. And when this becomes your default way of processing the world, something subtle begins to shift in how you connect with people. Because now every interaction carries extra weight it was never meant to carry. At some point, something subtle changes in how you experience people. It's not that you stop liking them. It's more like the conversations stop landing the same way they used to. You're sitting there, nodding, smiling at the right moments, but internally there's this quiet distance growing. Like you're in the room, but part of you is standing slightly outside of it, watching everything unfold. And this doesn't happen in a dramatic way. It's gradual. One day you notice small talk feels heavier than usual. The "how was your day?" Conversations start feeling like scripts everyone is repeating without really being there. People laugh, but it doesn't fully reach you the same way. And instead of blaming others, your mind starts turning inward, wondering why you're not connecting like before. In everyday life, it shows up in very normal moments. You're out with people, maybe friends or coworkers, and everything looks fine on the surface. But you catch yourself drifting mentally. Not because you're bored in a simple way, but because your mind is constantly scanning for something deeper in the interaction that never really arrives. And when it doesn't show up, you don't feel angry, you just feel further away. What makes this even more complex is that intelligent minds don't just notice this gap. They analyze it. You start picking up inconsistencies in how people behave versus what they say. Someone talks about growth but repeats the same patterns. Someone says they care, but disappears when things get inconvenient. And once you start seeing these contradictions clearly, it becomes harder to unsee them. But here's the part nobody really talks about. This awareness doesn't automatically make you feel superior or above at all. Most of the time, it just creates a quiet emotional disconnect. Because now you're not just listening to words. You're reading subtext. You're hearing intention behind tone. You're noticing pauses that others don't even register. And while that level of perception sounds powerful, it also makes simple connection harder to maintain. So slowly, without even planning it, your behavior starts shifting. You stop initiating conversations as much. You respond later. You choose silence more often, not because you don't have anything to say, but because saying things that feel surface level starts to feel draining. And ironically, the more you pull back, the more invisible that distance becomes to others. From the outside, people might assume you're just busy or independent. But internally, it feels different. It feels like being in a room full of noise where nothing quite syncs with your internal rhythm anymore. You're not rejecting people. You're just not finding enough depth in the interaction to stay fully present. And this is where something even more subtle begins to form, because when connection starts feeling inconsistent like this, the mind doesn't just accept it quietly. It starts adapting in ways that slowly change how you relate to everything and everyone around you. There's a moment that doesn't feel like a decision, but more like a quiet adjustment you don't even notice happening. You've been overthinking, you've been analyzing people, you've been noticing the gaps between what's said and what's actually done. And at some point, your mind just starts to pull back a little. Not in a dramatic way, more like turning the volume down on everything. First, it feels like relief. Someone doesn't text back quickly, you don't feel that spike anymore. A conversation gets confusing or inconsistent. You don't replay it as long. It almost feels like you're getting stronger, like nothing really shakes you the way it used to. But what's actually happening is something more subtle. Your emotional system is learning to expect less reaction so it can avoid disappointment. And in daily life, this shows up in very ordinary situations. You get good news and the reaction is quieter than you expected. You meet people and you don't fully lean into the moment the same way. Even things that should feel exciting land a little softer than they used to. It's not sadness, not exactly. It's more like emotional neutrality starts replacing emotional intensity. What makes this confusing is that from the outside, people often misread it. They might see you as calm, composed, even confident. But internally, it doesn't always feel like strength. It feels like distance. Like you're standing slightly behind your own experiences instead of inside them. You're observing life more than participating in it. And this is where the mind starts building its own logic to justify it. I just don't care about unnecessary drama. I'm not easily affected anymore. I see things clearly now. And some of that is true. But there's another layer underneath that rarely gets acknowledged. Because emotional protection doesn't only block pain. It also filters out the intensity of connection, even the good parts. So what happens over time is subtle. You stop expecting people to be consistent, so you stop leaning into them fully. You stop expecting moments to feel meaningful, so you stop opening up to them completely. And without realizing it, your emotional range starts shrinking. Not because you're broken, but because your system is trying to keep you stable in a world that kept feeling unpredictable. And here's the strange contradiction that builds from this point forward. The more controlled your emotions become, the more distant life can start to feel, even when everything on the surface looks fine. And maybe this is the part most people don't realize until much later. When you spend enough time trying to understand everything, reading people, predicting reactions, protecting your emotions, you don't just become mentally sharp. You also start filtering life through a quieter lens. Less surprise, less chaos, less emotional noise, but also less spontaneity, less raw connection, less of those simple moments that you don't think about, but remember years later. It's a strange balance, because the same awareness that helps you avoid pain can also make it harder to fully feel what's good in front of you. Not because something is missing in life, but because your mind gets used to standing one step ahead of it. And the real shift happens when you realize this isn't about becoming more detached or more emotional. It's about noticing when your mind is leading your experience instead of simply living it. Because happiness for intelligent people isn't usually about finding more answers. It's often about learning when to stop analyzing the moment you're already inside. So if there's one thing to hold on to from this, it's simple. The way you interpret people, situations, and even yourself will quietly shape how life feels to you. And sometimes, the difference between feeling disconnected or feeling present isn't changing the world around you. It's recognizing the moment you're no longer inside it. And that's where everything begins to shift. If you made it all the way to the end, you already know this video wasn't just about psychology. It was about understanding yourself on a deeper level. So if this connected with you in any way, take a second to subscribe, because this channel breaks down human behavior, emotional patterns, relationships, and the hidden logic behind how people think and feel in real life. Leave a like if this made you reflect on something you usually ignore. And I want to hear from you in the comments. Write the number of the topic that hit you the most in this video. Was it the overthinking, the emotional distance, or the way intelligence changes how you see people? And don't stop here, because on the screen right now you'll see another video that continues exactly where this one left off, diving even deeper into psychology, emotional control, and human behavior. Click it next, because if this topic made sense to you, the next one will connect even more dots. Also, check the playlist on the channel for more videos like this, each one designed to help you understand yourself and the people around you in a clearer, more realistic way. Stay sharp, stay aware, and I'll see you in the next one.